How does it feel sitting in a wrecked airplane underwater, or seeing the frame of a corroded ship used during World War II? During this amazing scuba dive, we experienced so much, even seeing an octopus over the reef. But let me back up. My family loves to scuba dive, and we had not done so yet in Tahiti. For that reason, we packed up our own gear and went to a popular dive site we heard about. We tied up our dinghy to a mooring, but since the dinghy has so little space, we all jumped into the water to put on our BCDs individually. BCD stands for Buoyancy Control Device, and it is connected to the air tank so that we can fill up or empty out the jacket with air to control whether we float up or sink down. Once we were ready, we descended and got to the bottom. Immediately, we saw a large propeller from the ship. It was practically my height. I loved posing with it, so who says you can't have photo shoots underwater? Anyway, we moved along the side of the ship towards the bow. The ship is tilted, so the port side of the deck is significantly shallower than the starboard side. The wood of the ship has mainly rotted away, so only the metal frame is left, making it all seem like a skeleton. Still, the bars are teeming with fish that congregate in huge masses. What an ecosystem! Now, to know some history, I researched and found out that the ship was a minesweeper, which is a vessel meant for locating and destroying tethered explosive mines. It was used here in World War II because the Pacific Islands were important stations for the Allied forces. Also, its mission to locate explosives is why it was constructed primarily of wood and not of metal. Some bombs were triggered by magnetic fields, thus shipbuilders wanted to minimize those risks. Also, next to the ship's main deck was this large cylinder that used to be a boiler to heat water. The fact that it was ripped off and collapsed to the side makes me theorize that the ship did have a disaster happen to it. Sadly, though, I could not find many details from sources online. I don't know exactly why it sank or if it happened during the war or afterwards. Moving on, there were also tons of destroyed cables, ropes, and other debris along the ocean floor. Many minesweepers would have steel cables, which could bend and twist. However, I noticed that these do not seem rusted, but rather overgrown with sea algae and otherwise preserved. For that reason, I debate that maybe these are fiber ropes and not metal, but I'm no expert. Let me know your theories about the ship in the comments. After we saw all of that, we decided to move on toward the airplane. On the way, we saw an exciting sight, an octopus. I had never seen one before in real life. Now, this phenomenal creature mainly stayed along the rocks where it shocked us with its camouflaging. Its head flickered white and even changed its texture to appear more jagged like the rock. The octopus knew we were there, so this transition would flicker on and off instantly if we moved or if it felt tense. We watched for at least 5 minutes and were completely in awe of this creation. Eventually, though, we had to move on. Very soon, we arrived at the sunken airplane. We heard that other divers safely went inside since all of the windows and doors were removed. So Papa gestured for me to sit in the cockpit seat. You can see by my reaction that I was like, wait, you want me to do it? But I agreed that it was a fun idea. Both Alona and I went inside, taking turns, of course. There was a large enough space open in the roof, so getting in and out was no trouble. All we had to do was move slowly and with control. When it was Alona's turn, she had a bigger challenge than I did, since her fins are literally almost the length of her legs. Thus, she had to line herself up with the opening and carefully descend by exhaling the air out of her lungs. If she wanted to float for a moment to readjust, she just inhaled to fill up her lungs again and stabilize her buoyancy. Alona is so skilled, it's impressive. Anyway, it was really cool to sit in the seat that a pilot would have used during World War II. Of course, Papa took a million videos, and we just had fun before we safely exited out. Meanwhile, Mama had her own side adventure. After signaling to us that she was going towards the back of the plane, Mama found where a door had been removed. She entered into the aircraft. Now, we must say that divers should be extremely careful when entering wrecks. Mama only allowed herself to venture inside because she could clearly see the path to the exit. If in advance you cannot see a clear path out, never enter a wreck without keeping a line that lets you retrace your path to the entrance you used. Safety is the most important thing, so don't take unnecessary risks. Anyway, Mama left out of the front cockpit, actually coming up underneath Alona while she was sitting on the seat. Both ladies exited together one at a time. It was fun. Now, of course, here's some history about the airplane. It was a Catalina seaplane also used during World War II. It flew between Tahiti and the island of Bora Bora, which had an American military base. In the 1950s, the plane was purchased and used for regular flights until it had an accident while landing in Raiatea in 1960. The aircraft was then towed to Tahiti, where it was left underwater to promote development of a new ecosystem and also to form a dive site for tourists. Interesting, right? As divers, we were really happy because this dive was incredible. Having 2 wrecks and a little reef in between allowed us to see so much in the hour that we spent underwater. It was definitely an awesome experience that we will not forget. We're also very glad we can share it with you guys, so thanks for watching!